UTPA men's and women's basketball racking up the W's. We'll show you how they did it. We check in on the first individual workouts of the spring for baseball, and we'll show you how track and field opened the indoor season by rewriting the record books. This is Bronc Country. Welcome to Bronc Country. I'm Jonah Goldberg. The University of Texas Pan American basketball teams faced off against Kansas City and Chicago State this weekend, and boy did they come to play. Ladies first, hosting Kansas City on Thursday, and the Broncs came out of the gate strong. Shante Goff hits a layup, Brittany Bush follows suit, and then Goff hits a jumper. It's 6-0 Broncs. And then, after a couple of free throws by the Kangaroos, it's Alexandria Hill for three. She can hit them from anywhere. Broncs up 9-2. The Broncs pushed their lead into double figures for the first time midway through the first on this layup by Goff that makes it 15-5. The Roos pulled within 7 with a little over 6 minutes on the clock, but Goff hits a jumper. Tanisha Walker buries the three. Jasmine Thompson makes a layup. Sherelle Price comes up with a jumper. And then it's Hill again. From downtown, Broncs up 19, it's 31-12 with 4 minutes left in the half. Move ahead to the second half. The Kangaroos have hopped to within 6, but Bush having none of that. Hits the layup, draws the foul, converts the free throw. Broncs up 49-40. The Roos kept it close for a few more minutes. They were within 8 with 4 minutes left, but Thompson hits the jumper, and then a little later on, Goff pulled up for three not once, but twice. Broncs go up 18, go on to win 65-50. Big game for Goff, second highest scoring total of her career with 24 points. Hit a career high 10 shots, including those 2 threes you saw. Strong games for Thompson, who had 13 and 7, and Bush, who scored 8 while ripping down a team high 13 rebounds.
But we're getting up in them and we're making them trying to turn it over. And, you know, I'm just very pleased with what we're doing, and once we get in a little bit of better flow shooting-wise, we're going to be really good.
It was a great win. We played transition defense, we played transition offense, and all week coach was talking about how against Seattle, we didn't do good on transition offense, and we let them do whatever we wanted to do. So our 2 point guards did the best that they could, pushing the ball up the floor, and it showed because we were able to get a lot of open layups, which got us that big lead in the beginning, in the first quarter.
She's a tremendous player. I mean, she's one of the best freshmen in our conference, and I hope people recognize that because, again, tonight she had an extremely good game.
We move on to Saturday. Broncs playing host to Chicago State, and this was a game of runs, at least during the first half. Opening possession of the game, we're not even 10 seconds in when Sherelle Price pulls up for 3 and hits it to give the Broncs the early advantage. 3 minutes later, same score, and Shante Goff picks up right where she left off. 6-0 Broncs. Next time down the court, look at that move by Brittany Bush. Broncs up 8-0. After the Cougars get on the board, Goff responds with not 1, but 2 baskets, plus a pair of free throws. Broncs go up 14-4. The Cougars responded with a 9-2 run to pull within 3, but look at the captain. Laquita Garner is a right good captain. Hits the free throw to convert the 3-point play. Broncs up 19-13. The Broncs push their lead back out to 8, but the Cougars come back to take the lead. Late in the half, Broncs down 27-26, but not for long. Kaylin Boyd for 3. Broncs up 29-27. And that's when Tanisha Walker took over. After hitting a free throw, Walker caps the half with a 3. Broncs up 6. Start of the second half, time for a little more Walker. The hoop and the harm. Walker hits the free throw. She scored 7 straight. Broncs up 9. A minute later, the price is right. Broncs up 12. And then after a Bush free throw, Goff hits a jumper. Caps a 16-0 run. Broncs go up 42-27 and go on to win 66-44. Goff led the Broncs again with 18 points and a career-high 4 steals. Another strong game for Thompson with 10 points and 7 rebounds. Same for Bush, as she ripped down a game-high 12 boards.
very excited about it. Win the conference game. That puts us 3-2 in the conference, probably going to tie us for third place. Very excited about that. Very excited about to move up to be 9-9 on the year. We're working our hardest. We want a winning season, and we want to try to get to postseason. So these 2 wins were very huge for us as we continue to build this program.
Well, we came out a little sluggish, and we tried not to do that because in the locker room, I mean, we know that we've played better competition than them, but at the end of the day, upsets happen all the time. And so we came out a bit sluggish, but we picked it up in the halftime, and that's one of the things I always talk about. And we talk about the team, that we never lose our energy. We always pick up the intensity, and we always match other people's intensity, and that's why we're able to get as many wins as we have already.
Well, defensively, we've just played great. I mean, we held them to 35% shooting, and again, we got to do that. We continue to rebound pretty good against the big people. We tied them on rebounds, and we're definitely at a smaller advantage inside. But defense is what we're going to build this program on, and if we get consistent shooting, then we got a chance to be really good.
Here's a look at the WAC standings. Idaho at the top at 6-0, while Seattle checks in at 4-2. The Broncs tied for third with New Mexico State. And guess who the Broncs' next opponent is? Who else? New Mexico State. On to the men, visiting Kansas City at Municipal Auditorium, which means it's time for a flashback. 51 years ago, in this very same building, the Broncs beat Western Carolina for the NAIA National Championship. Fast forward to the present, the Broncs trying to channel some of the positive energy of Broncs past, and it looks like it's working. Down 3-2 early, Shaq Boga hits the jumper to give the Broncs the lead. And I have news for you, they're never going to trail again. And a big reason for that was the other half of the Shaq attack, Shaq Hines. Hits a jumper here to make it 6-3, and then makes a layup to put the Broncs up 15-9. The Kangaroos pulled within 2 midway through the half, but Hines, having none of that, makes the jumper to push the Broncs lead into double figures, where it remains for the rest of the game. Hines finished with a game-high 21 points. The Broncs pick up their first WAC win, 78-66. Hines went 10 for 13 from the field. The best performance by a WAC player in WAC play so far this season, while adding 8 boards with 3 blocks. Boga had a big game too with 18 points, including 7 of 10 shooting from the line, at the time a career high. As a team, the Broncs shot a blistering 58% from the field, their highest shooting percentage in nearly 5 years. So what could the Broncs do for an encore? Saturday matinee at Chicago State, game delayed by half an hour due to snow affecting the Broncs' bus ability to reach the arena. And early on, the Cougars were in control, going up 15-7 over the first 5.5 minutes. But that's when the blistering offense returned. Javon Farrell gets things started with a 3-pointer. Shaq Hines hits a jumper. And then a little later on, with the Broncs down 5 again, Justin Leathers hits the basket and draws the foul, hits the free throw to make it a 2-point game. Next time down the court, it's Shaq Boga's turn. Knocks down the layup and finishes it off with a free throw. The Broncs have their first lead, it's 20-19. And the Broncs are going to make that stand up in a big way. Farrell knocks down the layup, then it's a Shaq attack. Boga hits the jumper, and Hines makes a layup. Broncs up 7. Late in the half, Chicago native Alex Majewski for 3. The Broncs take their largest lead of the half. It's 38-25. The offensive onslaught continued into the second half. With about 10 minutes left, Boga hits a free throw to put the Broncs up 29 at 64-53. That capped what can best be described as a 57-20 run. Broncs roll 84-61. Showed you Boga at the line a few times. He actually went there a career-high 18 times, making a career-high 15 shots as part of his career-high 26 points. Farrell recorded his 8th 20-point game of the season, while Hines had another great game with 15 points on 6 of 11 shooting with 9 rebounds. It was the Broncs' 4th road win of the season, more than they've had in any season since 07-08. Still plenty of games left. One big reason for the Broncs' 2-0 week was Shaq Boga, and he earned a few awards for that. Boga becomes the first Bronc to earn WAC Basketball Player of the Week honors. CollegeSportsMadness.com gave Boga the same honor. For the week, Boga averaged 22 points, 3.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and 3 steals, while shooting .476 from the field, .400 from behind the arc, and a whopping 22 for 28 from the line. As for what it all means in the standings, Chicago State was undefeated entering its game with the Broncs. With the Broncs win, only Utah Valley remains unbeaten in WAC play. The Broncs can pull even with defending champion New Mexico State for third place with a win on Saturday. Now that winter break's over, it's time to start thinking about spring break. I don't know about you, but I'm thinking Vegas. And what do you know? That's where the WAC tournaments are this year. You can get a ticket to all 14 WAC tournament men's and women's basketball games for just $165. We even have an in on hotel rooms through corporate travel, so give us a call or visit UTPABronx.com/WAC today. Hey, we've been telling you Bronc Country just got a whole lot bigger, haven't we? Well, Viva Las Vegas! When the weather is as perfect as it is down here, that can mean only one thing. It's almost baseball season. Coming up on Bronc Country, we take you to the baseball team's first individual workouts of the spring.
Madness is calling. The 2014 WAC Men's and Women's Basketball Tournament. March 12th through the 15th at Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. 16 teams battle through the brackets on their way to the big dance. Be there to see who will go home the big winner.
Ticket packages on sale now at UTPABronx.com. There's nothing quite like the smell of fresh cut grass and the ping of the bat to kick off the spring. The first official day of full team workouts for college baseball isn't until Friday, but the Broncs were able to start individual workouts last week. Individual workouts are a little different than full squad practices.
With individual work, with the NCAA rules, once we're in individual work, we can only have them out on the field for baseball-related activities for 2 hours. The total will be 8 hours, meaning weights, conditioning, meetings, but actual on-the-field stuff is only for 2 hours, as opposed to when we start regular team practice, we can have them for 20 hours a week. And that 20 hours you can divide whichever way you want to, except for the fact that you can only have them per day for 4 hours total.
But whether it's an individual workout or a full-blown team practice, one thing remains the same. Everyone is excited to be back on the field.
It's a really exciting time now. You get to get out here with your whole team and obviously go through everything and really get prepared. So it's really exciting, looking forward to the first game, and this is the only thing we've got left to do.
Oh, it feels great. Definitely feels good to be back with the team. And I'm really excited to start the season and get going with these guys.
Part of the reason the Broncs are excited to be back on the field is that they know there's a lot of work to do before the season starts.
But right now, what the hitters are working on, what our goals are for the spring, where we left off in the fall, we're kind of picking it up there. Defensive workouts for us would be just to review with our infielders, everything that we taught them in the fall, so we can move on. The same with the outfielders and the same with the catchers and the pitchers. So it's just different goals. In the fall, you kind of just want to establish some things, rundowns, bunt defenses, things of that nature. Now you want to review for a couple days and then pick up where you left off and finish off teaching them the system.
Of course, even though the Broncs are just getting back from winter break, that doesn't mean they weren't putting their time in.
Everyone's gone away and worked hard over the break, and hopefully we can come here, put it together and be ready to go come February 14. Biggest thing for me was a lot of conditioning. It's a long season. I want to be able to carry it through the whole year and keep working on my change-up mostly.
And for Sam Street, one thing that certainly won't bother him at the start of the season is the warm weather. After all, he went home to Australia over winter break.
I was, which was really good. Got to go down the beach and do all that because it's summertime back there. So see the family for a couple of weeks and back here we are.
The Broncs open the season February 14th against Texas A&M Corpus Christi, which means it's time to get your season tickets. For just $100, you can get tickets that are good for all of the Bronx games this season. To get yours now, give the Bronx a call at 956-665-2221 or visit UTPABronx.com. We're just one meet into the season, and already the record books are being rewritten. Next on Bronc Country, we take you to the season openers for the track and field and tennis teams. It was just the first indoor meet of the season, but already the UTPA track and field teams made their mark on the record books on Friday at Texas A&M. Spotlight Dijon Johnson. After ending last year's outdoor season at the NCAA West preliminary round, he's come back ready to run. Broke 2 records at this meet, including the 200-meter dash, which he ran in 21.87 seconds. We pick it up in the 400-meter run. The race was close in the middle, but as we come around the final turn, you can see Johnson pulling away for the win in a program record time of 48.31 seconds. That wasn't the Bronx' only win of the day. We move on to the mile run where, early on, Martin Cass already has a pretty good lead. Now, we're going to speed it up a little. Do you notice how Cass is the only person on your screen after a while? The graduate student from France absolutely dominated the field, finishing in 4 minutes and 11.73 seconds, the second fastest time in program history. On to the 4x400 meter relays. We start with the women, who put together a strong run. Elise Crowther, Deandra Barroso, Melissa Rodriguez, and Carolina Hinojosa combining for a time of 3:57.21, the third best in program history. Not to be outdone though, we move on to the men, where in the opening lap of their heat, Johnson gets the Bronx off to a great start. Second lap, Edgar Moreno keeps the pace steady. The Bronx still with the lead. In the third lap though, things get tight. Brian McDonald neck and neck with his competitor. But in the final lap, Ramon Nelly is a great man to have as an anchor. Comes from behind and watch these final seconds. A near photo finish. Bronx finished with a time of 3:19.49, second best in program history. On to women's tennis, visiting 19th ranked Baylor. Pretty good day for Wanda Begelin and Regan Greenwood. Greenwood played number 6 singles, where she bounced back from a first set loss to win the second set 6-3 before falling in a tiebreak. As for Begelin, she played an amazing match at number 4 singles, won an 8-6 tiebreaker to win the first set 7-6, and then here, during the second set, boom! Goes on to win the second set 6-4 to pick up the win. It was the lone win of the day for the Bronx, who fell 1-6. Didi Fachikova won a pair of games from the 38th ranked player in the nation, Kia Jenneret at number 1 singles. The Bronx are back in action on Friday when they host UMBC at 10 a.m. As for the men, visiting 12th ranked Texas A&M, they got a strong showing from Ivar Aramburu in his first action as a Bronc, winning 5 games in a 2-6, 3-6 loss to the 13th ranked singles player in the nation, Jeremy Efferding at number 2 singles. Senior Chayton Padini also played well at number 5 singles, taking a team-high 7 games before falling to Frankie Kalunga 3-6, 4-6. The Aggies ended up sweeping past the Bronx 7-0. The Bronx get to play their next few at home starting this weekend as they host UMBC on Friday and Louisiana on Saturday. The Bronx also announced a pair of signees for the 2014-15 season, Ross Marzetti and Elliot Johnstone, who both come from Tasmania, Australia, where they were part of Tasmania's 2013 Pizzey Cup team that competed in the School Sport Australia Championships. They have partnered with each other in the past in doubles competition and will bring more competition to the Bronx.
Yeah, the fall class, it's my first fall recruiting class to bring in as a head coach here, so it's exciting for me. And it was imperative that I lay the foundation down. So always it's getting the right mix of talent and characters. And I was able to bring in Ross Marzetti and Elliot Johnstone, both down from Tasmania. So they came across, they came to my attention from a former Bronc that played for us back in the early part of the decade when UTPA was nationally ranked consistently between 50 and 75, in and out every week. And so this young man was able to help me with it. He knows them, he's worked with them and coached with them, he's traveled with them. And that's the main thing. Like, it's just not spending time, they come to an academy and they go home. But this coach who is a Bronc and wants to help us out, which makes our connection even stronger. But travel with him. When you travel, you get to see all the idiosyncrasies, all the little things that makes up a person, the good and the bad. And so you get to spend time with them and really just see how they were raised and what values were instilled upon them. And it just turned out the more time I spent with these guys, and we would talk on Skype all the time, and the families, they're the right fit, just character and the talent. And these guys are hungry, man. They love the sport. They love to train day in and day out. I mean, they love to compete, and they're only going to get better. They just graduated in December down there in Australia, so they've got time now where they're training. They already took 3 weeks where they went. They traveled the mainland of Australia and played for 3 weeks and just traveled together. They kept a journal and stuff, would send me information on each day that they were spending together, on their training, on their competitive experiences in singles and doubles. So I mean, just right away, they're doing the right things. They're asking me, they're going and they're getting the type of shoes that we wear, so they can get comfortable wearing the type of shoes that we wear. Going out to get Nike gear because that's what we wear. So like they're going out to get Nike gear to make sure that it fits. I mean, just things like that. That honestly, in the past, I've not had guys ask me that. They're taking care of making sure the equipment, they're asking about the strings that we use so they can go out and get some samples on their own to start getting used to some of that stuff. So it's just all those things that just add up that as a coach, whenever I get questions like this on Skype or emails, it's just like, I just feel so good. Yes, I'm bringing in the right guys, and they can ball, yeah, and they're going to expect to make impacts to be in the starting lineup, If they're not, then that means the current guys are developing great, it just makes our team even that much better. So it's a win-win for everybody.
If you want to show your support for the tennis and track and field teams, or any of our other sports, donate to the Bronc Athletic Fund today. You can become a member of the BAF for just $50 a year. All of the money raised goes directly to student-athlete scholarships. So visit BroncAthleticFund.com today to see how you can make a meaningful impact on the lives of student-athletes. One way you can donate to the Bronc Athletic Fund is by participating in our 8th annual bait fishing tournament, affectionately known as BAIT, on South Padre Island on April 12th. You could be one of 8 teams to win over $10,000 in cash prizes, including a $4,000 grand prize. Interest piqued? Visit UTPABronx.com/bait for more information.
Madness is calling. The 2014 WAC Men's and Women's Basketball Tournament. March 12th through the 15th at Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. 16 teams battle through the brackets on their way to the big dance. Be there to see who will go home the big winner.
Ticket packages on sale now at UTPABronx.com. Here's what's coming up for the Bronx. Just one game for each of the basketball teams this week as they face New Mexico State on Saturday. The women at home at 7, the men on the road at 8. The tennis teams have their home openers on Friday as they host the University of Maryland Baltimore County for a doubleheader. The men also host Louisiana on Saturday. The baseball team will be on the field for the first time this week as well as the Green and White World Series rages on from Friday through Sunday as part of Alumni Weekend. The Bronx will host their alumni game Saturday afternoon at Edinburg Baseball Stadium. We want to thank you for stamping your passport in Bronc Country this week. Schedule another visit for next week. But until then,
Madness is calling. The 2014 WAC Men's and Women's Basketball Tournament. March 12th through the 15th at Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. 16 teams battle through the brackets on their way to the big dance. Be there to see who will go home the big winner.
Ticket packages on sale now at UTPABronx.com.